all right. Good evening, Source Nation, and welcome to SRN Live Television. I'm your host, Dr. Samori Swygert, host of the Pendulum, every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Before I go any further, I want to thank our sponsors. They make all this possible, and they are Zuliana Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Productions, Revolution Mills, Renovations, Meet My Types Matchmaking, New Covenant of Praise Worship Center, and Blend to Blend Juice Bar. Right, so we have to do that because they are the ones that keep us going, and we know that media is very important. We're part of the dissemination of information to the public in this 21st century hyper-digital age. All right. Also, if you are interested in advertising with our television network, you want to contact Kathy B, and that's at Kathlyn1971@gmail.com. That is KATHYLYNN1971@gmail.com, or Tracy Jeffco@gmail.com. That's TRECIEJEFFCOAT@gmail.com. And you can also make sure that you visit our website, and that's www.yourbtv.info, www.yourbtv.info. So, Source Nation, I have my sister, Yolanda Spivey, in the house today. And we're going to be unpacking some relevant information. I think it's pertinent to the times that we're in, because we're seeing a shift in power. We're seeing a struggle for power in America. And with that, it's important that we are right and that we are exact in understanding who we're aligned to, what everybody's goals and objectives are, what's expected, and what are we receiving at the end of it all. There's different entities and parties when we talk about revolution and when we talk about fights for rights and things like that. So I brought my sister, Yolanda, in because she is very much in tune with women's rights. She's very in tune with the different ills that affect Black women, what Black women are going through and experiencing on a day-to-day basis. She has her ear to the floor, and she has a very objective mind state. She holds no punches, no cut cards, and I like that. I appreciate it. She keeps me centered oftentimes. So I like including her in the conversation. Yolanda, how are you doing, sister?
I am doing wonderful tonight. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. I had to get you in on this conversation. When we get to talking, we can end up talking for hours, but we can't do it for hours, but we're going to get it in for this hour.
Okay, we'll keep it short and sweet, though.
All right, precise, concise, and accurate, right? Okay.
Yes.
Now, the reason I'm enlisting your contribution to this conversation is because I noticed that, during President Barack Obama's administration, he was doing a lot of things that were really positioning women strategically positioning women into positions and places and offices that were traditionally held by a lot of men. He nominated Chief Justice Sotomayor. He had I forget we had Susan Rice, and then there was another sister. I'm drawing a blank right now. There was another sister though that he had in his presidential administration cabinet. So
right.
we saw that. Then under his administration, he was also he signed the Lilly Ledbetter Act, which was trying to guarantee that women get their fair share of equal pay for equal work that they do in the workforce and professional arena career-wise, because we know that traditionally and for centuries, women have been women have got the short end of the stick when it comes to equal pay. So President Obama did that, right? Now, Obama left office, and then as he left, and President Trump, his inauguration, around that very same time, you had the Women's March. And this is where everybody remember, like the pink hats and everything. And so you saw all these women marching to Washington, D.C. And I was there, I had my camera, I have all the footage, I have the photos, and it was good. Like I could see that women were motivated, they were mobilized, they had their signs, they were a force that you had to reckon with that normally where women are pushed aside, they made their presence pronounced.
Right.
But one of the things that was undeniable was there was a reduced representation of Black women in that 2017 Women's March on Washington. And then the sisters, meaning Black women and even other women of color, but we're talking specifically Black women. And that's the thing that I wish that we really start doing now is zeroing in on our specific target demographic, name the name. Black women kind of held back a little bit, like, well, some of this, like we feel your position, but some of this isn't the issues. We don't share the same issues on some things, but the Women's March want to be inclusive. They want to be very inclusive. They want to embrace Black women, Latino women, Middle Eastern women, women of all ethnicities and racial backgrounds. And that was to galvanize the numerical and statistical power they need to make a really good showing. But for some reason, Black women, they had a reluctance, a skepticism, a little trepidation of kind of forming this alliance and coalition. Tell me just a little bit about that. What was that about?
Well, as they should. I think that Black women finally kind of like woke up because we looked at what our foremothers did. When the women's rights movement was taking off in the earlier part of the 20th century, we looked at what our foremothers did, and they marched to the death of them with white women. And at the end of the day, they were left out of a lot of policy. A lot of the policy that was created was to benefit white women. And and also our voice was left out of the past too, So I think in going in this march, in the March for Right, we didn't want to repeat history. And that's why you didn't see such a big presence from Black women. Yes, you did see like the celebrities up there and, shouting out and all that other good stuff. But the regular Black woman, she really didn't make her voice known. And let me tell you, Dr. Samori, I know you were there at the march, but I've heard horror stories from some sisters who were at the march, about being physically assaulted by white women and left out of certain things. And, they'll say, look, we're all here for a cause. And, and the white women will be like, so what, and still leave them out of certain things. And so there were some underlying things that were happening during that march that we don't know about. Right. We do not know about. Yes. And so I'm like, yes. I'm like the same old thing, So,
one of the things that stuck out to me was it was this one photo of a sister that she had a lollipop on her mouth.
That's my hero, yes.
And it was like white women voted for Trump, and she was just standing there like, and what? Like, okay. Like, and
remember, they voted for Trump, exactly.
Yeah, in a large demographic, like almost half,
Yeah.
And that says a lot.
Because here it is, you know, these women have this march going on, and you know they're fighting for rights, but yet they voted for a president that is so. I mean, he is so against women. He signed that order that Obama signed into play for women to get equal pay. Did he revoke it or something like that?
I think he may be working to. I'm not sure. I'm not sure specifically, but what we do know is this: he's been working to retroactively dismantle much of Obama's policies that Obama got during his administration. So I'm sure that if it's not on the chopping block yet, it will be.
So isn't it moronic that, like, here it is, they're fighting for their rights, but then they voted for a man that is like totally, they voted for a man that is totally against women in all ways, and even, you know, have raped women and, well, supposedly, allegedly, let me put allegedly out there before we get sued. Allegedly raped women, touched women, molested women. You know, there were a lot of reports that he even raped his own wife, you know, this, that, and the third. So, I mean, like, it's just crazy. It shows like an insane mind. Yes. You know, you're not progressive with your politics. Mm-hmm. You're not being totally progressive with your politics.
No. So not progressive and not inclusive.
And not inclusive. Well, they don't care about us because it's all about the number. At the end of the day, they need Black women for two things: to beef up those numbers and to be their biggest cheerleaders, because we are everybody's biggest cheerleaders. You know, we have the biggest mouths and we're very bold. Mm-hmm. You know, and during the first women's rights movement, they needed Black women because we were so like robust. You know, we'll just go out there and just do it. Mm-hmm. You know, and they needed our strength. They needed our courage. They needed, you know, everything that we have, they needed, you know, and they fell back on our strength and our courage. But then they left us at the wayside.
You know what I think that might have to do with also is the fact that they go home to the white man who runs America, and Black women don't go home to the white man. They go back to their partner in oppression. And so it's kind of like, as a white woman, it's like, well, husband, look at all of these women that are complaining about equal rights, equal pay. Don't you think that, you know, you should be a little bit more receptive to what they're saying? When in all actuality, they're using Black women by proxy to usher in their real complaints, but it's kind of like they don't want to push that. They don't want to have to go back home and answer to their husband, who actually holds the purse strings to America.
Right, exactly. They use Black women to fight their man for them. Right.
And so, you know, that brings me to...
And you're right. It's two different environments that, you know, we do go into. Because at the end of the day, even if I'm Jane Smith, you know, a Black woman sitting up on, you know, in a penthouse, I'm still being oppressed in some sort of way. You know, just through the system of white supremacy, I'm being suppressed in some sort of way, you know. So, you know, my plight is different than that of a white woman.
Exactly. And so that brings me to like 3 words that I always talk about when we talk about, because one thing I am so much for my sisters getting their just due in America. I'm so much for it. One thing that I always think though is like, look, just be smart about it. Don't be used as a pawn. Please don't get used as a pawn. And the 3 words that always come to my mind is, when we talk about white women in America, is power, position, and privilege. And those 3 things, man, I mean, those are like crucial chess pieces on the board right there. And Black women must always, every time you get ready to get involved in these movements, always ask who is in power, who's going to walk away with the power, who's going to be in position, and who's going to get the privilege and who's going to reap the benefits from me contributing my time, energy, creativity, attention, my heart, all of that? Who's really going to reap the benefits? Is it going to be me? Or am I going to get power, position, and privilege, but only for a short, temporary time? So these just things like, whenever you get ready to get into something, you need to ask yourself these questions constantly. Now,
I agree. I agree.
Now,
I think that we should have our own agenda when we approach these marches. We shouldn't just go in there empty-handed, like, here, I'm here to help, and your problem is my problem. We really should have our own written agenda, lined out. That's going to benefit us.
Right. Now the other thing is this. I'm getting a question in the chat room. No, good question. Good. Is this now? I am not trying to demonize white women. That's not my objective. My objective is for people to be clear on reality and facts and what the next step is, because there are white women that are really for the go. Like, you have like Jane Elliott, who I'm like, her work, I'm like, hey, hats off to you, because she admits the power, the position, and the privilege, and she is actively fighting against the maintenance of white supremacy, conducting educational lectures and deep immersion simulation courses with white people to show them the power, position, and privilege that they have. And so I take my hat off to Jane Elliott. You have
she's one of few, though.
You said one of few?
Yeah, one of few. I mean, it's a very limited. I really feel like there's a limited number of white women who really have, a Jane Elliott type of mind.
Right.
And there aren't that many.
And to really be active with it, like, to say,
right.
I don't care what you think. I recognize the unfairness and position that I have, and I'm going to put it out there on Front Street. Some white women may know that there's unfairness and know that it's not right, but they remain quiet. But remember what we know: your silence is complicity. Your silence.
Some of them love the power that comes with the oppression of Black people. Yes. They love it, so they participated in it even more, because they don't want to lose their position of power or their perceived power.
Right.
Right.
So we had Jane Elliott. You had Viola Liuzzo. Viola Liuzzo was a white woman that during the 60s, when they were doing all the voter registration in the South,
I remember.
She was helping transport Blacks back and forth between cities to do, voter registration and all of that. And some white men pulled up beside her car. She had like a Black male passenger, and they shot her dead, and shot him. They thought that he died, but he didn't. He got away, he escaped. But she lost her life in trying to ensure that Blacks had were getting some type of political equality. And so I take my hats off to her, Viola Liuzzo. Like, her name goes down in history as being a freedom fighter. You had the Freedom Riders, where you had a lot of white women that were they were in the bus that got bombed, that were coming down from the north. To they partnered up with like a lot of the Black civil rights fighters and leaders back then, and they were helping with voter registration again, and voter education. And so they were the Freedom Riders, and so a lot of them lost their lives, and so I take my hats off to the white women that were involved in that. And then even currently today, you have women like Angela Hattery. I had an opportunity to interview her. She is co-author of the book Policing Black Bodies. And she goes into how the law enforcement and just the whole political state, how they are using and exploiting and abusing their power and exerting it on Black people, you know. And so when I sat there and just listened to everything, and she was just pouring over all the data and all the policies, you know, she went into the gerrymandering and the redlining and just all of that. And, you know, she understood the position that white America has, her position as a white woman, the position that Blacks have in America, and what she can do about it. See, I can appreciate that. That's what I can appreciate. Those are the type of white women that we need alliances with. Now, I want to go into what we put on the flyer was, man, we've been seeing a lot of incidents lately, right? Where there have been people, the police have been called on Black citizens that have really just been doing their everyday, day-to-day routines, activities, you know, eating, just whatever you could think of, the most benign and simple of activities. They're getting the police called on them. So you had the incident at Starbucks, the 2 Black men in Starbucks in Philadelphia, right? You had the Black sister that was a student at Yale University, had the campus police called on her. You had 2 incidents at the Waffle House. One where they tried to charge this Black woman 50 cents for plastic cutlery. Like, nobody pays 50 cents for plastic. Like, please get out of here. That's complimentary with the meal. But they called the police on her because of that. You had a Black woman in a different city when she was walking up to the door to get into the Waffle House. A white woman walked up, said, "You can't come in here. We're closed." Closed the door, locked it in front of her face, and it was full of white patrons. Would not called the police on her, you know, then you had the incident in Oakland, California. A group of a Black family just out there having a good time, minding their business, not playing any music, just minding our business. Here comes a white woman. You're not supposed to be here. You know, she's trying to retroactively go back into the Black codes, telling you where you can't be. And, you know, I think that she's the sheriff in applying vagrancy laws on Black people. You know, basically that's what it is. You know, I'm gonna apply some old 1860 vagrancy standard on you, or the police on them. And so one of the things that I just happened to notice, I'm like, wait a minute. I see a common theme here.
Yeah.
These are white women.
Let's not even talk about the white woman who called the cops recently on a Black man that was inspecting a home, and a white woman who called the cops on a Black man who was moving into his own apartment. So I mean, there are and in California,
the Airbnb in California.
Yes, the Airbnb incident. Yes. So it's like, come on, y'all.
So it's like you have these. You can't hide. These are facts. This is not me being emotional. These are facts. It's documented facts. You have these white women that are, for some reason or another, they feel like, look, I have to regulate you. I have to control your activities, your body. I need to be in control of that. And I'm doing that by calling the cops on you. So my question is, where does that put this push and this march for women's rights? Where and I know it's not all white women, but the way that some of these white women are operating, that undermines the alliance and the coalition that they're, quote unquote, seeking to have between Black women and other women of color. Like, how do you expect me to join in with you when you calling and snitching and calling the cops and I'm just minding my business? Like, don't you know that when the cops are called, these usually turn to fatal encounters for Black people? The police were called on Tamir Rice. Tamir Rice, when the cop arrived, Tamir Rice was killed in less than 1 second of the cop pulling up on the scene. We see what happened with Sandra Bland, right?
I think that white women know the power of their voice. because historically they have caused death and destruction by using their voice. You know, they have destroyed a whole town and lynched hundreds of people by using their voice.
Let's talk
so
about
they know the power of their voice. And when they call the cops on a Black person, and you touched on something really important I want to talk about, but when they call the cops on a Black person, they're essentially signing off on that Black person's death certificate.
Yes.
Because they know that there's a chance that that Black person might be executed by the police when the police comes. It's almost as if purposely they want that person to die, in my opinion, if you're going to call the cops, because the cops should be the last resort. That's when you feel threatened, and half times they don't feel threatened. It's just because, like you said, you're not doing what they want you to do.
Right.
So if you're not doing what they want you to do, they feel that, you know, that's a violation, and now they're going to call the police to put you back in your place.
Right.
So it's disgusting. As far as it connects to Black women, and with white women, I fight for, equal rights and all those other good stuff. That really needs to be addressed, because there is no way we can continue to fight and not address that. And also, there should be some type of repercussions. Like, if you call the cops for no reason, you should go to jail. Yes. You should get charged. You should get booked. All that. And I should have the right to press charges against you. That's right. Because technically you ordered my execution.
That's right.
That's how I feel.
That's right. So. I agree. And see, the thing is, and here's where it matters. Here's where it matters for Black women. When we think about enrolling and enlisting your effort and your energy and your life with white women in this quest for women's rights, if you're not knowing the true sincerity in some of their agendas, I can't say all, I don't like broad brushing. Here's where it impacts Black women. Look, you just calling these cops willy-nilly. As a Black woman, these cops could just kill my son. Like, remember, Tamir Rice, that was a Black woman. right. That was a Black woman's son. You know what I'm saying? Sandra Bland was a Black woman's daughter. Eric Garner was somebody's Black father, Black husband, Black lover, Black fiance. Like, you are impacting my family and my livelihood. The fact that you call the police on some nonsense, on some trivial nonsense, you destabilize and permanently cripple my family, because they can be put in the dirt, and I can be living on a two-income household, and you just snatched half of that from me if my husband gets killed. Or let's say you call and my child gets killed. And you are a direct factor in the crippling and the demolition of my Black family.
Right, so exactly.
That's what Black women have to look at. Like, look, it's okay that you form an alliance. You need allies in war. And the war is for women's rights. But it's truly knowing the agenda of the people you consider an ally. And what I encourage because oftentimes when I bring up this argument, I have white women friends that'll say, just don't broad brush us. And I say, fine, I don't want to broad brush you. But one thing that I ask of you is make sure that you are actively talking to your white women friends and challenging them to check themselves, check their.
That's something that they don't do. Huh? They don't do it.
They don't do it.
They don't have these. They don't need to have these conversations. It doesn't affect them when they go home.
Because once again,
it affects us.
Because they have power, position, and privilege.
Right. So they don't. If you were a white man, would you go home and think about Tamir Rice and Eric Gardner, all these other people that we just said, talked about Sandra Bland, and would you think about the plight of them? No, not really, because that's not. You're not going to be affected by that. You know good and well that you'll wake up and you'll be safe, and you can go on with your life. And chances are you will not be stopped by the police for any reason. And chances are no one's going to call the cops on you for no reason at all. Mm-hmm. So that does not affect you. And the same thing with white women. It doesn't affect them when they go home and lay their heads down at night. So therefore, they do not have the conversation amongst themselves. It's us that's having this conversation because it's directly affected us. We're dying because of it.
Right. And that's the thing. I've seen videos where police may pull over a white woman and, man, I mean, she'll give them the business verbally. Like, you effing have such and such, but call them everything under the sun but a child of God,
Yes.
Damn near you think they're almost about to punch the cop in the face. I mean, the cop would just be like, ma'am, calm down. I'm going to give you a ticket. Yeah. I'm going to give you something. Don't say that to me. Don't do that. Okay. I'm going to place you under arrest. I am going to place you under arrest.
Nice and gently.
Yeah. They placed them under arrest. Black women, they placed them underground in graves, And so it's wild. So that double standard exists. Now, the other thing is competition at the corporate ladder. See, I often wonder, they want black women for numerical and statistical power so they can gain social and political power. But do you think that some black women understand that white women will be more comfortable with them being unequal to them in this totem pole of power in America? They say they want equal rights, but are you comfortable with a sister, i.e. a black woman, having exactly equal power? Like, we sitting at this table as equals. What percentage of white women, I shouldn't even ask you that because it's not like you can perform the statistical analysis to get inside of a white woman's head and heart. But I mean, do you really think that
they want us to have? Let me tell you a little story, Doc, real brief. Mm-hmm. So I had this white girlfriend in college. She was like my BFF. I'm not gonna lie. Mm-hmm. We went everywhere together. She was like 10 years younger than me because I finished college late, y'all. So it's all good. I finished though. So anywho, one day I told her about this job that I had secured, and she was, and I was telling her I would be flying back and forth to Colorado. I told her about my salary. I'm thinking as a friend that I can discuss these things with her. And she turns around and says to me, how the hell did you get that job? Wow. As if I did not qualify for the job. So she's looking at me. I don't know, maybe it's not a black or white thing, but I just find it quite odd. She knows I'm 10 years older than her. I have a lot more work experience than she does. I just secured my college degree. So why would she question, what type of position I'm holding now? Right. She just couldn't fathom, like, who would give me, a marketing executive job. And it kind of like made me realize that, she doesn't see my worth. You know what I'm saying? Yes. She does not see my worth. And I'm like, if I was just another regular white girl, would she have questioned me? I don't think so. So it kind of opened my eyes to, just to the whole scenario. And to answer your question, no, white women will not be comfortable with us earning the same amount of money. If so, why haven't that issue been brought up in these marches? You know, Black and Latino women are severely underpaid when it comes to white men. You know, and then when it comes to white women, we making 60 cents. No, what was it? It's 60 cents to their 80 cents on the dollar that the white man makes.
Right.
You know, Latinos even less. This is not fair. We're all doing the same job. If, you know, we're so busy pushing for equal rights and equal pay for white women, but that's only with their men. What about across the racial line?
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Are we going to catch up? If not, then we should not be marching. If we cannot talk about our money, we should not be marching.
Powerful. And I think that is the conversation that really, really needs to be had amongst our sisters. Because I really believe, and this is why, you know, there's a sister out in Philly, Dr. Philae Chionesu, and she did the Million Woman March, and I believe that was in the late 90s, I believe. And she had a strong turnout, but it was specifically for Black women. And that's something where it's like, you know, we have to retreat within ourselves, find our solace within ourselves. I strictly identify the issues that are germane to, anyway, where we're keeping this in the context of Black women. So all the issues that are germane to Black women, when it comes to the Americana, on all the different levels, on the social level, the cultural level, the economic level, the political level, all of that, professional, all of that, you know, like everybody knows, like Silicon Valley is mostly all white men. You know, how does that, when we talk diversity, don't just say diversity like it's just this, you know, oh, diversity is like a buffet. No, we're all Black women in this diversity. Show me the data, show me the stats. And not just that they are employees at your firm, because that could just mean they cleaning toilets. Where are they in leadership positions, you know, in thought groups, in things of that nature? So I encourage my sisters, like I stand in solidarity, shoulder to shoulder. And here's one thing I want to go on record for, because there's a current out here, and it's a dangerous current that is seeking to break the bond between Black men and Black women. And I agree. They're trying to find the little idiosyncrasies and nuances where, you know, Black men, like we both, Black men and Black women, have our faults. But these little entities that they harp on it and they just try and tear everything apart. I want to go on record that I stand shoulder to shoulder with my sisters, that, hey, I recognize your position, your struggle, and your fight, and you have an ally in me, and I will go to bat for you. And that's what I believe our sisters need to hear. And in return, reciprocate that right back. And I think the more that we push and reciprocate amongst each other, that's only really going to elevate each other, because that's all we ever had when we came to America. We had our naked bodies and these damn chains that they had placed on us.
Yeah. And I was just telling some guy on my Facebook page earlier today, because I had put up, you know, about me, you know, going out with a friend one night in New York, and, you know, none of the Black guys would talk to me at this bar, but the only person that caught my, you know, that I guess was attracted to me was an Italian man. And I asked the question, you know, like, you know, would you fault me if I had dated that Italian man and had children and married him eventually, all this other good stuff, you know? So anywho, one of the guys on my page, he said something, and I had to put him in his place and let him know that during slavery times, Black men and Black women's bond was kind of strong. And this is something that they don't know. We had. We only had each other. So you know, we tried to like hold on to each other as tight as we could. Even after slavery, when we all separated, we kind of like built towns and everything and tried to preserve our family and our lineage, what was taken away from us. Black men were in a household, you know? So it's like now I do see that there is a big cloud over the Black men and Black women relationships. And I know a lot of my sisters, they're going to hate me for saying this and all this other good stuff, because they, you know, and that's another point I made too, Dr. Samori, is that Black women are tired of being lonely. They tired of being lonely. They tired of being played on. They just tired of a lot of bullshit stuff.
Well, but rightfully so.
I like the term. But they're tired of the bull. And so now you see a lot more Black women are dating outside their race. And with the wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, it just sort of put the nail in the coffin. Like, this is the way to go, you know? And I tell my sisters, you don't have to date, you know, specifically outside your race. How about date Caribbean Black or African or, you know, South American? There's a whole bunch of Black men all over the world, you know? You don't have to just stick with African American men if you don't want to. You know, there's a whole bunch throughout the diaspora. But it's just really crazy. I see it. I see it in the advertising. I see it in TV shows. Just the other day, I was watching, I caught a glimpse of it, that new show with Tracy Morgan and Tiffany Haddish.
Oh, okay. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it.
OG something, yeah. So in the show, Dr. Samori, they have this white man who's supposed to be Tiffany Haddish's husband. Okay, and they have children together. And he said this line, I was going to write an article about this, because he said to her, after she was mouthing off at him and, you know, giving him that sister talk, he said, act like a Black woman. And she said, excuse me? And he said, you heard me, act like a Black woman. She said, that's offensive to me. And he said, well, I hold Black women in a high standard, and you're not acting like that. Think about that for a second. When did white people start holding us at a high standard unless we had our clothes off?
Right. You know, aside from what a lot of them see on World Star or Pornhub, or, you know, things that get their rocks off.
You know about that stuff.
You know what I would say though, Yolanda, is what I'd say is this. It's not even about, I mean, granted, if you want to go ahead and date, you know, continental Africans or Caribbean Blacks, feel free to do, you know, what your heart desires. But also know this, it's not that you're just dating geographic or geographical locale. What you're trying to find essentially is the mind state. You want the Black man with the right mind state that knows how to respect you and honor you, treat you the way you should be treated, protect you the way you should be protected, listen to you, understand you the way you need to be understood. And so that's what Black women are really looking for. They're looking for my mirror in my man, but I don't see my mirror in my man because Black men have been mentally co-opted. So you're really searching for the right mind state in a melanated man. And so what the problem, I mean, it's so much unpacking that goes into that, but you know,
it is.
And you know, the thing is, like, I broke it down. I shared one of my Facebook videos with you before, where just the mental conditioning, just through rap music alone, where I went in and I pointed out all these different lyrics where it was like, man, when I was in high school, I'm listening to this, like, bopping my head to it, rapping it verbatim, but then as a grown man, I'm listening to it like, man, he said, treat you right, you talk slick, I beat you right. And that was Biggie. And I was like, dang, man. And then the song was called Me and My B. You know, I'm like, yeah. You know, or I need a gangster B. You know,
Yeah.
It's or you know, I'll beat that with a bat, like, you know, and this is things that we dance, and so all this stuff has been subconsciously ingrained, and it's kind of like, man, but how did the music industry think that that was okay for that to happen? You know,
I think it was purposely done.
Yeah, it was engineered and orchestrated. Yes.
Yeah, we move with our music. Have you noticed that we move? Well, of course you noticed because you're a music buff like me. But we move with our music. Mm-hmm. In the 70s, it was about love and sex, and there was a whole bunch of babies being made, and you know what I'm saying?
Teddy Pendergrass and Marvin and Smokey and Curtis.
Yeah,
you know, they singing ballads. The Isley Brothers, they singing ballads of how much they love women. You know, brothers crying
right.
song, you know, crying. You know, talking about how they can't go to sleep without them. Like now it's
about that. Yes, and now you have it beat it up. And you know what's so sad? I'm looking at my younger sister, and I hope she do not kill me. But I'm looking at her, and I'm looking at the because she's 10 years younger than me. So I'm looking at how she's dating and the guys that are dating her. Mm-hmm. And the culture, it's just so totally different than when we were younger. Yeah. You know, when we were younger, it was still a little bit of love left.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? There's some idiots, though, that now that are still like acting like they're young and following this young trend. But for the most part, a lot of people who are, you know, 37, I would say, and a little bit older, they got that little bit of love music, you know.
Yeah, embedded in their genes. That's right.
Right.
But see, you know,
like it's just now the culture, the way people are dating each other. You know, they're not really talking; they're texting. It's just horrible. No one is communicating, and I think that's the problem with Black men and women, like especially the younger generation. These Black girls are walking away from Black boys because they just don't want to deal with it anymore.
Mm-hmm. They don't, because they don't have the matching mind state, because their mind state has been co-opted. It's been co-opted. Yeah. You know, we've been everything. So aside from the fact that it's cool calling you a B, calling you a hoe, a trick, skank, slut, jump off, bird, everything but what your mama named you, and you know the way what you should be called. So I'm gonna give you all the misnomers and misnomenclature of who you are. Mm-hmm. I am going to treat you as this sexual object and not recognize your humanity. That's one thing. And so you have all the strippers and all that. And then it becomes ingrained in the women because the women are rewarded for bad behavior. So now everybody wants to be in this stripper twerk it out lifestyle because T-Pain said, I'm in love with a stripper. And with that, we're making it rain all day, every day. We're just dropping money. And the strippers and the women that set it out the most when it comes to their physical attributes and accentuate their sexuality the most are the ones that get the most Facebook likes, the most Instagram likes. They're most liable to get a contract. They're most liable to get a reality show. They're most liable to get, like they blow up. And so
you see them taking rich and powerful men too. So, you know, the next thing a sister going, a little girl going to do is try to emulate what she sees.
Right, because they're rewarding bad behavior. They're rewarding bad behavior. So they're imitating that. This is how I get the power, the prestige, the fame, the attention, the notoriety. That's how I do it. I've seen it done. My cousin does this in Atlanta. And I see her on Instagram. Guys are taking her on trips, giving her thousands of dollars, taking her on vacations, taking her on shopping splurges trips because of what? I'm showing you my physical, you know, what I have physically. Not showing you what I have, not showing you what I have mentally, what my mental capacity is, or my expertise is, or my skills, my business acumen, or scientific acumen, anything like that. No, just see me for my body. So we named you wrong. Now we look at you as just a physical object. And then on top of that, here we go, the violent aspect. So Everything been, from rap. Once we got away from the conscious music, we always hear the argument how NWA came in and the gangster music came in. And so everything has just been like, I got a gat, I'll spray you, da 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 da. Everything is violent. So then if I'm not listening to that, then I'm playing video games. And in video games, what am I seeing?
Violence, guns, shooting up something or somebody,
Right? Then I'm like, okay, well, if I'm not listening to music and I'm not playing video games, then I just turn on the TV or the videos. I see the same thing.
And all you see is big booty strippers and guys tossing dollars and Moet Alizé, all that other good stuff,
So this is conditioned the mind state of black men.
Yeah.
Minus the fact that, like, the New York Times put the article out where 1.5 million black men are missing in the most eligible age ranges of 25 and I think 40 years old that are either locked up or dead. 1.5 million black men missing. So that means how many black fathers are gone.
Wow.
So yes, our black women have legitimate grievances. And at the same time, it's like, brothers, we have to arise to the occasion. Like my brother Ajay Taimba, he says, look, Wukusu, WUCUSU, wake up, clean up, stand up. And it's a mantra that comes from Malcolm X. And that's what we're gonna have to do. Wake up, clean up, and stand up. As men. And as women, like we've got to the point where we just have to stop pointing blame. And this goes for both genders. Both genders. Look, as black men, hey, we got some stuff to clean up. As black women, we got some stuff to clean up. But once we clean it all up, hey, let's go ahead and make some. Let's make a nation. Let's get to
let's build.
And the other thing too is, as you were saying, like this thing of this anything goes society. This is another problem too. Everybody, like, I agree. I feel that there should be standards. We got to a point where anything goes. Oh, just let them be free, dude. Da 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 da. Anything goes. But when anything goes, remember, anything goes. So if it's okay for them to do this, then why isn't it okay for them to do that? And then that's where you feel, well, he disrespected me. Yo, she disrespected me. But you said anything goes. So who are you to judge? Don't judge me. You judge me. Don't judge me. Like, so we got to be careful. We got to kind of set some real standards for ourselves. And that's a problem. We lower our standards.
Because it's all about not being judged. No one wants to be judged. And who are we to judge? And that's what everybody says when you have an opinion on a matter, you automatically are judging someone. And it's not judging. It's just you calling attention to a behavior that is destructive. The behavior is destructive.
And nobody wants to be judged. And all black people nowadays in this prison system, they all facing a judge. 20 years in life. But no, go ahead. I'm just
cracking. And it's so sad too, Doc, that what also left us is shame. We do not feel ashamed of anything anymore. Like social media has opened up or closed down, I should say, that wall of shame.
Yes.
People don't feel ashamed to go out there and just act a fool. Even parents and grandparents are acting a fool too.
That's right.
So we have no shame left in our society, which is why people are wilding out.
That's right. I completely agree. So, with that being said, we kind of stretched this out into a whole nother. It is good though. It's necessary conversation. It's adjunct conversation. It's auxiliary conversation that still needs to be had and further unpacked. But to get back to what we were saying, what is your take-home message to our sisters when it comes to fighting for women's rights and forming these alliances and coalitions? Should black women handle the struggle separately? How do they measure and scrutinize the white women that choose to enlist black women in their march for equal rights? What's your take?
So my take is this. Remember, history tells us what to do with our next steps. History gives us our blueprint on what will happen next if we do not do the opposite of what didn't work. You know what I'm saying? So I really think that Black women should go back and look at where they went wrong, and what our fourth mamas did, where they went wrong, and then address this situation accordingly. We should come, if they want to march, I don't march with white women anywhere. I'm sorry. And I say that I got a few white friends, people there and there, but they know I'm not going to march with them anywhere, because collectively, white women don't have my best interest at heart. So I cannot march with them, But for those who do want to march, I think that they should really have some type of agenda set aside for Black women specifically, and have it addressed specifically. And also with what you mentioned something, Black women having their own thing. I think that we should. That's the only way that we're really, really going to get heard. There's no, we can join them, but we should also have something on the side for ourselves that address our issues specifically. And yeah, that's it. And just to be careful, because, you'll go out there and think that you're changing history, and you're going to be left out of history.
Oh man. See, you and I could talk all day. You're gonna get me in trouble.
All right.
But that brings me to this one article I remember. I forget, there's this big Hollywood producer, and he's white. He has it's either his daughter or his granddaughter. She was coming up with this Civil War TV docuseries, and what she did was erase all the Black women from out of that.
The Handmaid's Tale.
Is that what it is?
Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, she erased the Black women's image from that, or from the series. Yes. When we were very significant in that part of history.
Oh.
We played a very vital role in that part of history, but yet we weren't represented in the series.
First of all, when we go back to I'm not saying a second, we just talk about just the whole system of slavery and out of slavery, how many white babies were nursed on the nipples of Black women, who cooked up in the house was Black women. Even if you look at Gone with the Wind and all the stereotypes, who was holding the house down really on the inside?
Black women.
Black
ran
women.
the house.
Ran the house.
That's why Black women and white men work perfectly together. They do. Every time when I had a really good job, it was because I had a white male boss. I'm not gonna lie. I got some stories. But
you was in bed. Whoa! You were in bed winching it. Were you? Wait a minute.
Never. And let me tell you though, Doc.
Go ahead.
They never wanted me like that. They never wanted me. Well, one boss probably did, but for the most part, they never really wanted to sleep with me. They liked the fact that, first of all, I was a loyal, industrious person, and I hardly complained. With white women, they always said, oh, they complain too much, or they always, asking for too much, and blah, 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 blah. Whereas Black women, we do the job, we get dirty with the job, and we get things done. And they love that. And we have always done that, even in slavery times. We have always ran the white man's house and efficiently and effectively. You know what I'm saying? So, white men and Black women work very well together. And I see that's why they promote Black women to like high positions in corporate, And, you know what? A solution to all this issues with us marching with white women. Maybe we should just skip white women and go with white men.
Oh Lord!
Go to the white man for some help.
Then he's gonna be like, "Oh, definitely. If you're gonna march with me, you got to get rid of that Black boy and that Black guy."
Exactly. That's not because you're not getting rid of my son. You're not getting rid of my bae. You're not getting rid of nobody. I want them. You know what I'm saying? So no, no. Yeah. Right. I will never sacrifice them for anyone.
That's right. You shouldn't. And as Black men, you shouldn't either. And that's the thing that gets me too, is, you hear brothers, you say the white man's ice cold, like the white woman's ice cold.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, we got women, as my grandma always said, and said to my mom, and my mom said to me, we got women of every complexion. We do. Every complexion. Saying from the lightest to the darkest.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, man, that's a deliberate choice. So you once again, you just saying that, what are you really saying about black women? Like, you just can't, there's nothing in that spectrum that satisfies your...
Yeah, that's a social status that goes along with that. Some black men, and I also wrote that some black men go with white women because they feel socially it's going to elevate them. And this has always been very common, even in the 40s and 50s or 60s, whatever. Halle Belafonte even touched on that when he told Eartha Kitt, who loved him, you can't do nothing for me, that a white woman can. So,
wow.
Or could, something like that. So, so just think about that. He left his love to be with a white woman because socially she elevated him. And this is the same brother who is all, black powered and conscious. Yeah.
I didn't know he said that to Eartha Kitt. Dang.
Yeah.
Cool, yo.
He said she tried to date black because everybody was giving her a hard time about having a white husband. And her response was, I tried dating black. I was in love. Harry Belafonte. And, this is what he said. And this is why I dated someone white. So it's kind of like she was almost pushed into the arms of a white man.
Interesting.
And what I'm saying right now it's not going to be popular to a lot of people, but I don't care. It is what it is. And I wish people stop acting as if this does not exist when it does.
What's that?
It's just that black men date white women for social reasons.
Oh yeah.
Social elevation.
Well, I'm not black. I'm OJ.
Some black, but there are a lot of black men who do stick with the sisters. Okay, we do know that.
Mm-hmm.
But historically, black men have always gotten white wives for social elevation. It's a good book to pick up for everybody. They need to read Matthew Knowles' book because I'm starting to read that book about life as a young man growing up in the South and how he saw color and how colorism influenced his life. It is mind-blowing, and it's so real, it's so real. And he doesn't hold back.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to check that out. I'm going to have to check it out. That may play a lot into even, why Beyonce, blondes her hair, like you just never know, I can only guess and surmise and speculate why she blondes her hair, but you never know. That could be something that he kind of instilled in her as a young girl. You just never know. You just never know.
Yeah, he did say that Beyonce would not be as popular as he is so smart. But he said that on a marketing perspective, Beyonce would not be as popular as she is if she was not light skinned with blonde hair, and then he named a whole bunch of other artists who were of lighter skin. And it's true, the artists that are really out there in the upper echelon of entertainment, they are lighter skinned. And, I hate the whole light skin, dark skin issue, I really do. But it's not like back in the day where we had a variety of different artists from, with different hues. Now you can see an agenda being pushed to have our people damn near white up there performing and being, sort of like they get to have it. They get to have it. This is in regards to black women, not black men, because black men, you guys can be any complexion and still be okay. But with black women, they do push that. And that's another thing that we don't want to deal with in our community because, Yeah.
Well, I guess I got for my edification, and education, we got a quote from Eartha Kitt. And it reads, a quote from legendary actress Eartha Kitt is circulating on social media. Quote, I was married to Bill McDonald in 1960. People would say, why didn't you marry a black man? And I reply, quote, because the white girls had them. The men I want to be with, Sidney Poitier, Harry Belafonte, dated predominantly white women. I'm talking about the 50s. Harry Belafonte picks me out of his bed in Philadelphia and said, quote, I don't want you to take me seriously because no black woman can do anything for me. I cannot help him progress into where he was going to go. A black woman would hold a black man back. That's what he told me. If I want to marry a black man, there wasn't one because the white girls had them. That was what was shot to me in the chat. So yeah.
I wasn't lying.
Yeah, no, I mean, once again, for my edification and education, you know. So once again, it goes back to a mutual and reciprocal acknowledgement of both black men and black women, our faults, where we have let each other down, and in recognizing how can we correct this, recalibrate and rebalance it so that we can really get back to nation building.
Right.
We have to do it. It's crucial. You know, it is crucial. And so
I agree.
With that said, we know we got to build together as black men and women, and as black women, Yolanda has put it out there. You have to find the issues that are germane to you and form that hard, cold conglomerate amongst black women and make that presence felt. And I'm saying, as a black man, if you need us to help in any capacity, just let us know how we can. Sometimes we want to help, but we just don't know where. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's kind of like, you know, if a woman's like, hey, look, you know, I'm moving, you know, a brother gonna be like, oh man, I hope she don't ask me to pack, because, you know, y'all specific on how you want certain things packed and where it goes. But when it comes to like loading it on the truck and like, look, I got you. I know how to, boom, I got that, boom, boom. So, you know, just let us know how we can be of assistance, and we need to step up to the plate. And lastly is scrutinizing white women that want to enlist your help and your energy and time. Hey, ask them the questions. Don't be scared to ask them, hey, look, what are you seeking? Why do you feel you need me in this? What do I stand to gain from this? If you get this, how are you sharing this? What's the endpoints? What are our parameters that we're using to measure success from where we are now? Who's sharing this? You know, and that's what has to happen. So with that being said, Source Nation, this is the Pendulum with Dr. Samori Swygert. Have my guest on, Yolanda Spivey, and she was giving it out raw and cold, you know, and that's why I always love to listen on these type of discussions, because she gives it straight up, no chaser. Yolanda, is there anything you want to tell people as far as like maybe a program or a business you want to promote, or let people know how they may want to reach you if they want to?
Yes, guys. So if you want to reach me, you can reach me at yolandaspivey@msn.com, or reach me on my website, www.mwhitney.com. I do insurance. I'm an insurance broker. And also, Dr. Samori, I wanted to tell you I have a book coming out later on this year. I hope you have me back on the show when that drops. Yeah.
Oh, you know I will. You know I will. Yes.
Yes, brother. Yes. Finally.
Yes.
Yes.
You know I've been waiting for it too.
Yes. So, yes, guys, Yolanda Spivey at msn.com if you do want to email me, or www.mwhitney.com.
All right, that's Yolanda Spivey, ladies and gentlemen. Before I let you go, I just want to make sure that I let you know who our sponsors are, because you just had this good conversation, this dialogue, this discourse with Yolanda Spivey and myself, and the people that make this possible are Zuliana Health, Wellness, and Fitness, Paper to Film Productions, Revolution Mills, Renovations, Meet My Types Matchmaking, New Covenant Praise Worship Center, Blend to Blend Juice Bar. And once again, if you would like to advertise with SRN Live Television, make sure you contact Kathy B at Kathlyn1971@gmail.com. That is KATHYLYNN 1971@gmail.com, or Tracy Jeffcoat at gmail.com. That's TRECIEJEFFCOAT @gmail.com. And also, Source Nation, make sure you visit our website. This is where we have all the goods. This is just my show on Wednesdays. This is just my show. We have a plethora of shows. We have a myriad of shows with great hosts, great topics, just different sectors of society, from health and fitness and wellness to finance to politics, everything. So if you like my show, I'm one organ inside of a big body of good content. So if you want to go and find some more good stuff like this, make sure you go to www.yourbtv.info. That's www.yourbtv.info. All right. So make sure you check that out, Source Nation, and we are out of here. Peace.